Welcome back to the deep dive. You know how sometimes you feel like you just need a roadmap, a direct instruction manual for life,
Mhm.
and you just wish someone or something would tell you exactly what to do?
All the time.
Well, today we are taking a deep dive into source material that suggests that manual is always being written and it's being delivered directly to you.
That really is the core claim here. We're exploring what the material calls the universal methods of divine communication.
Okay.
And the sources, they assert that this communication isn't just, you know, possible, it's constant. It's universal.
Mm.
And it uses multiple, surprisingly practical channels.
Mm.
It's described as a two-way exchange happening right now.
Before we get into the nuts and bolts of the actual methods, there's a little linguistic detail I want to touch on because it really shifts the entire perspective.
Right.
The sources insist we stop using the word talk and instead use communicate. Why is that so important?
Because the moment you say talk,
Yeah.
you're already putting human limits on it.
Ah, I see.
You're constraining the whole interaction to words, to symbols, to language. And as we're about to find out, words are actually considered the least effective tool in this whole process.
Least effective. Wow.
Yeah, the most easily misinterpreted.
So, okay, if the message is constant and it's not primarily verbal, then our mission today, I think, is to unpack two things. First, how is this complex nonverbal message structured? And second,
How do we tune in?
exactly, how do we tune in? Because the sources are very, very clear that the quality of it all depends not on the transmitter, but entirely on who is listening. Let's start right there then with the listener, because when we think of, divine guidance, we often think it's exclusive.
Right, for the chosen few?
Yeah, reserved for people who are exceptionally spiritual or morally perfect, but this material just throws that whole idea out the window.
It really does. It
Mhm.
completely shifts the focus away from eligibility. The most important distinction is who listens, not to whom the divine speaks.
So the message is universal.
Completely.
Yeah.
Because the divine speaks to everyone, all the time.
That is a staggering claim. I mean, they explicitly mention the good and the bad, the saint and the scoundrel.
Everyone.
So everyone is in this constant communication stream. But if it's so constant and universal, why do so many of us feel completely cut off or alone?
Well, because we're waiting for the message to sound a certain way.
Like a booming voice from the clouds.
Exactly. A booming voice, a burning bush, or, a clear instruction in English. The moment we realize that the communication stream is available 24/7, we see the problem isn't reception. It's our own inability or unwillingness to just perceive the nonverbal cues.
So the message is continuous, it's a two-way street, and the broadcast is always on, which means that feeling of being stuck, that feeling of needing guidance that's happening despite this constant stream of information.
Precisely. The sources really simplify the whole relationship. It's all about perception. The onus is on you, the individual, to just raise your awareness and start recognizing the forms that this communication actually takes.
Okay, let's tackle the structure then. If it's not words, what is the hierarchy of communication? The sources lay out 4 distinct forms, and I have to say the structure is completely counterintuitive to how we operate today.
It really is.
Let's start with the one they called the most effective and common, feeling.
Feeling is described as the language of the soul.
The language of the soul.
Yeah, and it's the most immediate channel. The guidance here is powerful. To know what is true, you have to look to your feelings. Your highest truth is hidden in your deepest feelings.
Well, wait, hang on. If feelings are the highest truth, how do we distinguish between a divine feeling, a true resonance, and just messy human emotion?
That's the critical question.
I mean, jealousy is a feeling. Intense fear is a feeling. Road rage is a feeling. Doesn't that just cloud the whole system?
But we'll get to the discernment tools in a minute, but initially the distinction is about the quality of the feeling. The divine message always registers as something expansive, a sensation of knowing, of peace, of connection.
Okay, so it's a different texture.
Exactly. The feelings you listed, like rage or jealousy, they're reactions. They're from the ego, often triggered by something external. Their true guidance registers deeply, internally. It's sustainable.
That makes the distinction much clearer. Okay, moving on to the second form, which is also powerful. Thought.
Right. Thoughts are distinct, but they can often happen at the same time as feelings. What makes thought so effective, according to the sources, is that the communication often uses images and pictures.
Ah, so it's a visual thing.
Yes. And think about it, an image or a sudden mental snapshot of a solution, it conveys so much information so much faster. It avoids that whole linguistic bottleneck.
Right.
If you suddenly see the complete path forward in your mind's eye, that's way more effective than trying to spell it out with limited words.
Bypassing words seems to be the theme here. Okay, number 3 is called the most powerful messenger of all. Experience.
Experience is the ultimate teacher. Experiences and the feelings they create represent what we factually and intuitively know. It's irrefutable data.
Like trying to stand on water.
Exactly. Your experience teaches you physics more definitively than any textbook ever could.
That makes perfect sense. Experience is visceral. But here is the critical, almost painful insight the sources stress.
That it's almost completely ignored by humans.
Yes. This is where the failure happens. We go through a difficult experience, a breakup, a business failure, whatever. That experience delivers a powerful lesson.
About boundaries or self-worth or planning.
Right, but instead of integrating the feeling and the lesson, we just intellectualize it or dismiss it as bad luck and move on without understanding the data.
So we get the message in its most powerful form, and we just fail to process the delivery.
So what's the consequence of ignoring the most powerful messenger?
The sources are pretty blunt. When we ignore the lesson in our experience, we are condemned to constantly relive the same negative cycles until we finally get it.
Can you give us a tangible example of what that reliving looks like?
Absolutely. So in a personal context, it might be someone who consistently gets into relationships with people who need rescuing, and it always leads to burnout and heartbreak. The experience is clearly saying you must establish boundaries. But if they ignore that feeling, that knowledge, they'll just find another person to rescue and repeat the whole cycle.
And professionally.
It could be repeatedly changing jobs only to find yourself in the exact same toxic office culture over and over again. The message keeps repeating until you consciously decide to listen to the data.
Wow, that reframes struggle entirely. It suggests the struggle isn't random. It's a focused communication designed to force awareness.
Precisely. And that brings us finally to the last and least effective tool, words.
The basement of the hierarchy.
Right. Words are used only when feelings, thoughts, and experience have all failed. It is the absolute last resort.
And why are they so ineffective?
Because they're just symbols, signs, utterances. They're not truth itself. They're so prone to misinterpretation and cultural baggage. They're just inherently full of error.
Okay, so we understand the form of the communication, feeling, and experience over words. Got it. Now let's move to the channels. If the message is constant, where is it being delivered?
The sources say these messages are sent over and over again through 3 main avenues.
And the first one is the most obvious, but also the most misunderstood. The voice within.
Right. That inner voice we so often just dismiss as our conscience or our ego.
Yeah.
This is designated the first tool, and it's the loudest voice simply because it's closest to you. It's your inner guidance system.
An inner radar.
That's the word they use, an inner radar to guide your journey. And it's critical because it's your personalized calibration tool. It helps you determine if all that external data, the noise, the advice, the media is true or false for you.
So it's not just a whisper, it's a filtration system.
Exactly. Instantaneous feedback. The second channel is one that really defines the relationship as personal, direct personal dialogue.
That sounds very intimate.
It is. The communication is conversational, it's direct, and it often uses a colloquial style. It's tailored exactly to your ability to comprehend.
Like the source text we're talking about.
The text itself is presented as a perfect example of this. The author felt like they were just taking dictation in a relaxed, personal style.
And this dialogue uses the human imagination as a vehicle.
That's right. Imagination isn't just fantasy. It's a creative receptor. It's used to transmit messages by bringing the exact right thoughts, words, or feelings at any given moment.
Like those sudden flashes of creative insight.
Or those perfect words that pop into your head just when you need to console a friend. That highly personalized delivery is the dialogue in action.
That really changes how I look at daydreaming.
Okay, and finally we have the most pervasive channel, the external world.
This is where the scope just explodes. Messages sent in 100 forms at 1,000 moments. This is the democratic channel. If you missed the message in your feeling, and you missed it in your inner voice,
the universe repeats it using everything around you.
Everything. I'm really struck by how democratic that is. The idea that the same message could be in a sacred text and the storyline of a Netflix show I just watched.
It forces you to listen to everything critically. The examples they give are so broad. It could be the words to a song you hear in a coffee shop.
Information in an article you skim.
The storyline of a movie that seems completely irrelevant until one specific scene just hits you. Or even the chance utterance of the next person in line at the grocery store.
It's everywhere.
Yes. Or a sermon you've heard 100 times that suddenly has new meaning. And of course, nature. The whisper of the wind, the babble of the brook, the crack of thunder. Every part of existence is a constant, repeating echo chamber for the central message.
This brings us right back to the critical hurdle we talked about. If feelings, thoughts, and words are being generated by anxiety, my ego, a late-night craving for ice cream, and the divine, how on earth do we filter this?
Right.
If the mechanism is the same, the challenge is entirely discernment.
And this is where the sources transition from describing the mechanism to giving you the rulebook. They know the noise is immense, so you need a simple, consistent benchmark.
Okay, what's the benchmark?
The basic rule is this. God's message is always your highest thought, your clearest word, and your grandest feeling.
Okay.
Anything that falls short of that standard, anything that generates fear or confusion or makes you feel small, is, according to the material, from another source.
Highest, clearest, and grandest.
That's a powerful standard, but it's a little subjective. Yeah, how do we make sure our definition of highest isn't just what makes us comfortable? That is where the 3 core guidelines come in. They act as objective filters to test that basic rule. Joy, truth, and love.
Okay, so tell us how those 3 are applied to the thought or the word or the feeling we're testing.
You apply them directly. The highest thought will always contain joy. Not just simple pleasure, but deep, sustainable joy. Expansion. The clearest words are those which contain truth. Not just facts, but resonance, integrity. And the grandest feeling is that feeling which you call love. Not possessive, needy affection, but unconditional, expansive love.
So if a powerful thought comes in, that seems really clear, but its ultimate effect is to generate fear or jealousy or some kind of emotional contraction, it fails the joy and love test.
It fails the test.
Despite its intensity, it gets discarded.
Absolutely. The feeling must be expansive. If the message makes you feel smaller or lesser or afraid, it is not the authentic voice. And the beauty of it, the sources say, is that these 3 elements, joy, truth, and love, are totally interchangeable.
Meaning one always confirms the other.
Yes. If a thought is truly joyful, it will inevitably lead you to a grand feeling of love and to words that contain truth. That interconnectedness is your confirmation. If any piece is missing, the message is contaminated. That's the ultimate tool for filtering it all.
This has truly been a deep dive into active listening. So to synthesize this for you, the listener, divine communication is constant, it's accessible to everyone, no exceptions. Your main job is just to improve your ability to listen.
To perceive.
Right, to perceive. Prioritize feelings and experiences over the limits of words. And when the noise gets too loud, use that 3-part filter, the one that connects joy, truth, and love, to test the message.
And this leaves us with a provocative final thought. Building on the critical insight about experience. We've established that experience is the most powerful messenger, yet it's the one we consistently ignore, forcing us to relive negative cycles until the message finally sinks in. So we ask you, look at your life right now. What specific cycle of difficulty, what pattern of heartbreak or failure are you currently reliving that you have yet to truly receive and understand the message from? What data are you still resisting that the universe is delivering to you over and over again? It's time to stop ignoring the most powerful messenger you have